So today we are going to discuss and learn a little bit about this quality of humility. Wait, let me adjust myself. Okay. So often we all, I think in our life we would have often asked ourselves our question, actually what is humility? Yeah, sometimes we have this doubt in our mind, and sometimes we also ask this question, am I really humble? Have you asked yourself this question? Sometimes, maybe. Sometimes in the passing we ask, am I really that humble? So let us learn a little bit about this quality of humility. But before we, let me take you back at the time when the Buddha was gained enlightenment under the full moon in the month of Vesak. And the Buddha was, after the enlightenment, was in this mental meditative state. And a thought arose in the Buddha's mind, the Blessed One's mind. And the Buddha said, this Dhamma that I have, this teaching, this body of teaching and knowledge that I have realized for myself, it is so profound. It is so hard to understand. So I'm not sure whether this generation of people at that time, this is like 25 centuries ago, the Buddha had this thought, he said, this generation of people, he said, they are addicted, the Buddha, this is the translation, to attachment. They are relish attachment, and they rejoice in attachment. This thought arose in the Buddha's mind now. If I were to teach, I'm not sure they will understand, and it will be very wearying and very tiring for me. So the Buddha was contemplating whether he should go out and share and teach the Dhamma. And at that very moment, Brahma Sahampati in the formless realm, he realized that the Buddha was thinking this thought, and immediately Brahma came down and he pleaded with the Buddha, Venerable Sir, he said, Blessed One, this world is actually burning. It's in total suffering. Please teach the Dhamma. He said, there are beings with little dust in their eyes. So for their sake, please teach the Dhamma. The Brahma Sahampati said, and he said, the world will be really lost if they do not hear this Dhamma. So please teach the Dhamma. And the Buddha agreed, and Brahma was so happy. He rejoiced, he paid his respects to the Buddha, and then he left. When he left, he was, in his mind, he was rejoicing that because of this pleading that he invited the Buddha, that many beings can learn the Dhamma. And do you know, because of that incident, today there are these beings here. All of you got little dust in your eyes. Do you realize that? You are here because this incident happened thousands of years ago, and we are here connected to that incident that happened when Brahma pleaded with the Buddha. Are we not humble? We are humble, right? We are connected. This unseen thread of what do you call that? Pleading by that very being enable us, and we are those with little dust in their eyes. That's why we are here. On this Sunday morning, many of us have taken this, and I see faces I have not seen before here. Very nice to see that there is the little dust that we come to learn with this humility in our mind. So knowing such, we want to know, we always ask ourselves, what is this humility that we are talking about? What really is humility? So humility is a very essential quality in our Buddhist practice. And it is a noble quality. And not only is a noble quality, it is a Buddhist spiritual quality. Everybody in our daily life, we have humility. But the humility we are going to learn about is the Buddhist spiritual quality. And this quality has this nobility, and it is a very important and essential quality that we have to practice in order for us to progress on this path. It is a totally essential quality. So even in, just now, Brother Sulun also mentioned that in the, in the Mangala Sutta, the Buddha enumerated 38 supreme blessings that if we undertake, we practice, we train ourselves in these 38 blessings, these become our blessings. And the 4, in fact, there was 5 in this set. The Buddha said, Garavocha, Nivatocha, Santutticha, Katanyuta. Garavocha, Nivato. Nivato is this Buddhist Pali translation for humility. And these 4, when we have respect and reverence, then we will develop this quality of humility, because we have so much of respect and reverence for things, for people, for incidents that happen in our life. And then we cultivate this quality of humility, leading towards contentment. And this contentment results in gratitude. So there's a progression in this practice of creating great blessings for our supreme blessing. So this humility is a great blessing in our life, and we practice. It is not that just we practice for ourselves, but it is also becomes a great blessing. And why is it noble? Why did we say that it is a noble practice? Because it is noble because it will take us to the end of our suffering, this dukkha. Humility is one quality, is an essential and a quality that will take us to the end. One of the qualities. So it's very important in the practice of our spiritual life to develop this quality of humility. And often they give this example, when you go to the rice fields, paddy fields, you see when the plant is green, belum mature, or very straight, right? But when it is full of rice, you will see it will slightly bend. So this is like a quality of humility. So, as we said just now, nivato in Pali for humility. The word nivato is a compounded word, and the word ni means don't have, tak ada, don't have. So it means without air. So if I have a ball here full of air and I bounce, if I play with the ball will bounce everywhere, right? Make a lot of noise. Imagine if I take the air out, what will happen? Very quiet, right? It's very flat. So when we say without air, humility means we are very grounded. We're very close to the ground. If it's a ball, imagine a ball. I wanted to bring a ball to bounce here, but I thought it's terlebih, too much. So I am describing to you all. So if we have humility, it's like we are very grounded, a very grounded person, very modest, qualities of being a very simple person. Now, it is also means that we are, open to advice. Open to advice. When we are a humble person, if somebody says something to us, we are open to it. Otherwise, we will say, why? You think you're so clever, man? You must tell me these things. No? Who are you to say these things? So when we have this quality of humility, we listen. Actually, there could be something I could learn from this particular incident. Okay, so one of the qualities of nivato is that we are not inflating the self. There's an ego actually involved. Do you realize we have an ego? It's the ego that gets hurt when things we don't like. We hear things, when people do things, and then suddenly we say, why? Why did they treat me this way? So there is actually an ego behind this quality of not having humility. So one of the things is we are very grounded. Secondly, we don't have this self-inflating self, the egoistic self. And thirdly, we are also, we let go of our arrogance due to our shortcomings. Sometimes we have shortcomings. We are not perfect in every way. So we let go of our shortcomings. If a husband and wife, we sometimes have our differences. But if we humble ourselves, we say, never mind. I'm very hurt by what my spouse has told me, but I will practice this quality of humility and I will let go. If there's a wound, there's dripping, inside there, there's step already. Got blood coming out. Say, put one plaster there and say, never mind. I will, for the sake of harmony in the family, maybe there is something within me that I have not looked. So we can always have this quality that we look into ourselves when we pursue this life of improving ourselves. Humility is not about outside. It's actually inside. It is our own practice. Incident happen outside, but the practice is within ourselves. So in order to learn more about this quality of humility, I think many of us, we have a rough idea of what humility is. But in the Buddha's teachings, this humility, we have to have this important understanding of why do we have this humility? What is this humility about? And the basis of any of our practice in terms of the virtues that we carry is this. One of it is right view, which is samadhi. I think you all have learned this samadhi is one of the Noble Eightfold Path, the first factor on the Noble Eightfold Path. Not necessarily you must practice it first, but it is the first on the Noble Eightfold Path. And this samadhi is the foundation of our Buddhist practice. We may not realize it, but this is the foundation of our practice to establish. We have to have right view, otherwise we will be just going on. That's why in all these many existences that we have lived, life after life after life, you are going around without right view. And because of not having right view, then we continue on in this journey. So right view is very crucial to understanding this quality of humility that we want to cultivate within ourselves. So let me give you a few analogies or explanation. Sometimes we may not clearly understand. So the first analogy is like a cool place associated when we are, let's say we are in the sun. We are walking on the roadside. It's a very hot day. Yesterday was a superbly hot day. Yeah? And imagine you are walking on the road. How do you feel? Very hot, right? You'll be sweating and there's no wind. So you feel very sticky, very hot and very uncomfortable, right? Then, as you're walking, you're looking and then you see there is a tree. And then you go and stand under the tree for a while. Even as you stand under the tree, you will still feel the heat, right? Because it is very hot. And the sun is still shining very, very hot. Then you walk on and then you come to this you walk into a building, air conditioned, it's very cool. How do you feel? It's totally different, right? So right view is like that. If you don't have right view, it's panas, burning. Everywhere is burning. Mind is burning over and over again. Thinking of things, unnecessary things. It's always hot. It's always burning. But when we have right view, we understand right view. It's like as though you walk into a air-conditioned building. Very cool already. Suddenly you feel, wow, so selesa you feel. So right view is like that is one of the explanations. The second one is you can explain right view as a foundation. This building we are sitting here, example. This building is built on what? Foundation, right? Brother Chan will tell you. Where Brother Chan? Chan Chiwa will tell you. He will. This building is on foundation. Can you see the foundation? You cannot see, right? It's supported by pillars. Can you see the pillars? Cannot, right? Why? All got walls already, brick already, nicely painted. You cannot see the bricks. There's a roof, right? And the roof is supported by rafters, correct? Can you see those rafters? Cannot, because got ceiling already. So this is like a foundation. Right view is a foundation, just like the foundation of a building, just like the pillars, just like the rafters on which we put our tiles. Having right view is like this, a foundation. If we don't have that foundation, then whatever we do, we practice how much of humility also, we still will have a lot of difficulty. We cannot understand, and we will get into a lot of difficulties with ourselves and with those around us. So, another analogy of right view. Another one is, we can explain right view as like a road map. If you want to go somewhere, we have never been let's say you want to climb a mountain or you want to go somewhere, And then you don't know that place. You just jump into your car and you drive. You will not reach there in the right in time that is supposed to be. You will have a lot of difficulties. You may not have enough. Your car may not have been well taken care of. You may get lost along the road. You don't know which direction to go. There's so many road signs, you're not very sure. You don't even have Waze. Now Waze very easier. But even with Waze, we can get lost, right? Especially you come to a highway, got one here. Then the fellow said, take second left, and then you go somewhere. One day, myself and another sister, we were driving back from Western Park. It was so dark already, and then we missed the turning, and we had to go all the way to Sungai Buloh somewhere, and then we had to come back. And it was raining, it was dark, it took us more than an hour to come back to where we actually originally lost ourselves. So it's like that. So right view is like that. When we don't have a proper understanding of what is this right view, in order for us to practice our qualities, the qualities of humility, then most likely we will get lost somewhere, and then we will most likely say, Buddhism is quite difficult. Better I go and join Christianity. Just believe that God will save me. I'm so happy already. Then there's another one. It's like a key to unlock. Right view is like a key to unlock the wrong views that we have. Let's say you have your wallet. Let's say you left it in your friend's house. If you didn't know that you leave it in your friend's house, how would you feel? You don't know where you left your wallet. How your mind? Very worried, right? Where did I leave my wallet? My money inside there, my card, my so and so much. I have this thing, I have that thing. You'll be very worried, right? And you won't know what to do, how to look, where to look. You do not know. But let's say you know that I left it in my friend's house. I'm very sure I left it at my friend's house. At that moment, even if you don't have that wallet with you, how is your state of mind? How? It's very calm, right? The wallet is still not with you, but your mind is very calm. That right view is like that. When you have right view, even if the things are difficult, your mind will be very calm. You will know how to handle those things. It's like you unlock. When you unlock the door of wrong view, you have right view. So these are some of the analogies about right view. Okay? So what exactly is right view? In the scriptures, there are many suttas about right view, samadhi. But today I have chosen to share this sutta on right view, and this is taught by Venerable Sariputta. Okay, it's not taught by the Buddha, but it is taught by Venerable Sariputta to a group of monks. Okay, so let us understand first what is right view. So right view is like a starting point. So we know where we start, what is our ending, that is we are going towards ending our suffering, and in between what are the things we need to do. So this is one of the understanding of right view. Why is it important? Because without right view, later I will explain, if we don't have right view, we will have a lot of difficulties in our practice. Then it is like the mind remains calm and contented. Problems can be solved easily. This Noble Eightfold Path that the Buddha taught, it provides a framework. It is like a framework, a guide for us to understand what is essential about our practice. So one of the things is, when we have right view, we know. Like for example, yesterday, 2 days ago, I was at home. And then this next week, I'm actually going for a family wedding. My nephew is getting married. So, Indians, when they get married, they will usually buy sari. They will buy the national costume, sari. Everybody wears, now got pattern on, everybody must wear same sari. I say, okay. So they came and they bought the sari and they gave me the sari. Now, sari is sari. You still have to go and sew the blouse. Yeah, so I brought this blouse, a cloth to the tailor, and I left it with the tailor. Then after that, I tried to call the tailor to make sure that this thing is ready for me. Yeah? But I couldn't get through, I kept calling, and I said, oh my God, there's already another week. I'm leaving early next week, and I haven't collected. What happened? So my mind, what the mind is saying? Oh, maybe this tailor ran away already. You see how the mind, terrible, this mind, he says, oh, maybe the tailor ran away already. I said, cannot be. I said, run away already. Somehow I left the sari there. No? Not only I left the blouse to be sewn, the sari also left there already. So he said, how? I'll be the only one without the pattern sari everybody must wear. So the mind is making all these difficult stories for me. Then a thought arose in me. Sister Paru, you're terrible, this person is running a business. You think you'll run away for your $100 sari? You see how the mind, without wrong, with this agitated mind. Then also I reflected. Actually, if the person runs away, $100, $130, it doesn't matter because maybe that person needs the money. So I reflect positively. And after I reflected positively that why is this thing going on within me? Then I calmed down. My mind actually totally calmed down. And I didn't worry anymore. I said, worst come to worst, I go and buy another sari. Worst come to worst, I got a whole load of saris in the cupboard I never use at all. I might as well use those saris. With this kind of view that I know how to, that thought, instead of, actually it was agitating me for some time. I was going round and round and round. And then you know what happened? The best part is, after that, I even called Sister Nandini, please go, because I live behind here, go and check whether the fellow. Later, I thought, let me try again one more time. Then when I look at the paper, instead, I was calling the number 019. Then I look carefully, oh dear, I think it is 014. And when I called 014, she answered the call. Because the way she wrote, it looked like 9 to me. It's actually a 4. So you see, if I had not had the training of the mind, I would be very, very unhappy for days, until I come and make sure that this person is here. So because of the training and this, I know that my mind is suffering. I totally cut it off, and I was very happy. I said, it's okay, it's all right, Sister Paru. If you don't have this sari, it's okay, I can always explain it to my sister-in-law. Even yesterday she called me, are you coming? Are you coming? Because there's some ceremonies and things to be done. I say, yeah. It's how our mind, without right view, we are always suffering, unnecessary suffering in our life. So our mind can be calm if we have a right view. We have. And then it provides us essential guidance with our difficulties in life. It will guide us. This right view, when we have difficulty, we just have to think of right view. What is it the Buddha taught me? And it will guide us. So, what is this right view? So in this Samadhiti Sutta, the Buddha, in this Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta number 9, I've chosen this particular sutta because it was given to a group of monks. This group of monks, they are actually very new because they asked Venerable Sariputta, Venerable Sir, you always say right view. We have heard this thing, right view, right view, right view. But what actually is right view? So it means these monks are actually very new to the practice. So they themselves do not understand what is this right view. And so Venerable Sariputta said, this thing he said. He said, a noble disciple understands the unwholesome. Do you know what is unwholesome? We can understand, right, what is unwholesome. And then not only that, he said, he understands the root of unwholesome. And then he understands what is wholesome. And he understands the root of unwholesome. So this is the first thing he talked about, right? He didn't go into many, the very, very difficult one. But very simple, the Venerable Sariputta said. First, right view is you have to know what is unwholesome. You have to know what is wholesome. Then you got to know what is the root of this unwholesomeness and what is the root of the wholesomeness. So do you know what is the root of unwholesomeness? The way, so clever all of you. Very clever. So, first we must find out what is unwholesome, right? So what is unwholesome? Yeah, but what are the unwholesome deeds that we do? So, again, Venerable Sariputta was very, what do you call that? He explained very easily to the monks. He said, so what is unwholesome is, first are the three bodily actions that we do. What are the three bodily actions? Killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. These are the three bodily unwholesome conduct. Then there are the four verbal unwholesome conduct, which is lying, malicious speech, then we have harsh speech, and then gossiping. Familiar, right? 4. And then we have the 3 mental, cannot see one. This one, mental, upstairs department. What it says? There is covetousness, there is ill will, and there is wrong view. So these 3 is the ones that we have a lot of difficulty with. We don't go around killing people, right? Not all of us, We don't kill. Even insect also want to kill. Very difficult already now. Ant also go and talk to ant. Hello ant, please go home. Don't disturb me. Yeah. And then we don't go around taking other people's things. We refrain. We refrain. We know that there are consequences if we have to do this, and so on and so forth. But when it comes to the mental side, we easily overlook because it cannot be seen, and we don't. It's not in front of us. It's not physical. So when we have ill will, we have covetousness and wrong views, this is not something that we can easily see. But again, Venerable Sariputta went on to explain what is the root. The root is greed and aversion and delusion. So let me explain a little bit more about this. First thing is about greed. So greed is selfish desire. When we have greed, it's about myself. So I have a desire and it is about my desire, what I want. And then it is about attachment. It is about clinging. And this character is like grasping. We grasp on. Like a meat, sometimes we cook meat, right? Then the meat stick to the hot pan. So this greed is like it stick to the pan, man. Very hard, don't want to come out one. So, a great example, I have morning when I go for a walk, I like these morning stories, a lot of morning stories I have. So lately I met this sister, and she was very, very upset. She told me, sister, I'm very stressed. Oh, I say stress. I like the word stress. When people say stress, I'm very happy that I can teach Dhamma. I can share Dhamma with them. So he said, I'm very stressed. I said, really? Yeah, she said. Then I said, I wake up 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. Then I don't know, I cannot go back to sleep. Then I take up my iPad, then I start looking at all the YouTube and the movies and all that. Oh, I see. Then slowly talk to her. So, why are you stressed, sister? Oh, and she will go on a lot of stories. But one of the stress factor for her is, she is a Catholic. She's a Catholic. And the daughter apparently wants to marry a Hindu boy. Hindu. So, you see, when 2 religions, boy and girl of 2 different religions, of course, it will cause a lot of difficulty for parents. For parents, we want our children to be happy. But this mother is actually, because she said, now the Hindu, they will have, and the Hindu is the boy. her is daughter. Hindu is a boy. Now, Hindu, they want to have the wedding in the temple. So these Catholics, she very upset. that she have to go to the temple. She said, I will go to the temple after law story. Then she said, I'll go to the temple, but I tell them, I don't want them to force me to do any of their rites and rituals. Because Hindu wedding, I got a lot of rites and rituals, right? How many of you have gone for Hindu weddings? Very few, better go and attend. Then you can see for hours they'll be going, the priest will be doing a lot of ritual ceremonies and many things. But there's a lot of meaning to it, but because we do not know, and one of the very, humbling experience in this, sometimes this wedding ceremony is like, for example, the man has to wash the lady's feet, meaning that it is, we are together. It symbolizes that we are together. And you have to humble ourselves. So anyway, coming back to the story. So, she is so angry that she cannot sleep at night. Just because this greed of, who am I? I'm a Christian. She keeps insisting, we are Catholics, We cannot go and do all this. We cannot this, we cannot that. I say, yeah, your daughter want to get married. Let them be happy. So anyway, that's how greed is, that we attach ourselves to things that mean something to us. But we never thought, my child is getting married. I want her to be happy. Whatever she wants, I will try my very best to do. Because why? I don't want her to have unhappiness. But now because of this kind of thing, what happens? The whole family is in an uproar, One person making it difficult for everybody else. But if as a mother, we say, I want to unite everybody, it's okay. I stand there. But then in the process, there's a lot of difficulty now. The daughter doesn't come, doesn't talk to the parents. Everything is now is like two camps, one camp here, camp A, camp B, like that. So a very happy occasion becomes a very difficult and very sad. It is not something that we want to have. Just because I want to stick to my son. Yeah, it's nothing wrong. You go to the temple, you just stand there, the priest will do everything. You're not going to be converted, right? Yeah, it's very simple. Like, people get married in the church, we also go to the church. Are we all converted? No, right? We just go there, we respect everybody. We have a humbleness for them to whatever is going on. So this is the greed that we have. Many examples of greed. This is just one that every day we can see examples of greed coming on. So because we have this greed, humility, go and hide somewhere already. Humility, go and hide under the skirt lah, in the cabinet lah, hide already everywhere. Cannot see. Okay? Let's look at aversion. This root of this defilement that we have, aversion. What is aversion? It is a kind of a hatred, an ill will that we have. Irritation. Very irritated. The neighbor go and park in front of the house. He's so irritated. Why must park in front of my house? Someone never park properly. Saying it like that one. The dog, my neighbor's dog, always come and do his business right in front of my gate. Until I give up already, I say, whatever lah, do lah. It's your nature to come and to do whatever you want to do, please do and go. I say, I just see only. Seeing is in the seeing. I say, see, okay, go. But I tell my son, you better be careful, because one day my son, at night he came, he parked the car. Then morning, we wanted to go somewhere. We get into the car. Then I say, why the car smells, stings? Then only he realized he actually stepped on when he came down at night, he actually stepped on the shit, and then he didn't realize it. And then the shoe was full of shit. And the next morning only he realized that there was this. So there is this aversion that we have, this irritation, annoyance. We are so annoyed, when things doesn't go our way, right? Yeah, so this aversion is this kind of annoyance. And then animosity. Because of that, you quarrel with your neighbor. Quarrel, and friends quarrel, husband and wife quarrel, family quarrel, because we have aversion, we have irritation, we don't like animosity, right? We do have, right? Don't act like angels, everybody got. And then what is the characteristic of this aversion? It is like, sometimes we become very fierce, because we have the aversion. We become very fierce, right? We talk also very fierce one. And then body, the mind, burning, chauta like that upstairs. All very black already. The body also very hot, right? Sometimes the body you can see, like that. And then we want revenge. A vengeance, and we want revenge. Yeah, we want to take revenge, right? So this is but we cannot see. And that is what is blocking us from being humble. When things, happen to us, we only see these unwholesome things happening. We don't realize that these are happening. And then we have delusion. First, what time do I stop? Please tell me. Can I? Okay. So delusion. So the third root is delusion. So what is delusion? Is mental blindness. Mentally we are blind. Sometimes people cannot see the eye. We see also, sometimes cannot see one. But this is a mental blindness. Delusion is like a mental blindness. Okay, aversion, I want to give you an example. Last time when I was doing real estate, so my friend was telling me this particular story about this man. He was, of course, he stayed in a very upmarket part of the town, and in this place, he built his very big bungalow, and he's very happy. Now his neighbor is a old couple. They are actually last time all these government servant ones. So this old couple got not much money. The house is very simple. From those days, 30 years ago, kind of design. The place also not well kept. The gate also want to lopek, want to jatuh already. It's like they live, although they live in this place, but they live in their own means. So this rich neighbor cannot stand it. He very unhappy, He's got a lot of aversion when he see this next door house. So, it doesn't give status in his mind. He said this house. So he told my friend, you please go and tell this next door neighbor how much I want to buy the house. I want to offer this price. So the agent got to go and do this thing. So, anyway, they did not accept the offer. Finally, he said, what price you want? You tell me. What you want, I pay you the price. So you can see the aversion that you don't like this neighbor. And finally, he did, The people are very happy. I also, you give me 10 times the price that I want. I also take, I also go and buy another. But for him, that is this land I want. And then he clean up everything and go and park all his cars there. So, this is the aversion you have. But if you thought there is this old couple, they have maybe not many resources, how can I help them? How can I be friends with them? If we have right view, we can see that we're actually helping someone instead of, hey, look at me, my house so big, your house so horrible, I don't like this thing. So you don't have right view. This is an example only. And then let's look at delusion. Delusion, as I said, is mental blindness, and whatever it is cannot penetrate. And an example is me. I myself is like that. I come back to myself. So when I was a young person, maybe teenager like that, because I go to school, so I have mental blindness. I always look down on my parents. I have delusion. I thought I very smart because I go to school. So I say my mother and father, she never go to school. Buta huruf, look down on them. I did when I was small because I didn't know. I didn't learn Dhamma at that time. So very proud, have this kind of thinking. So one day my father have to come to school. Those days already started. I have to go to school to take a report card, right? So those days I very happy because my parents buta huruf. You know why? As long as got no red mark, pass. Don't ask too many questions. Nowadays, parents say, why 98? Why you cannot get 100? Because they know how to read already. But this is parents don't know how to read. So my father came to the school. And you know what? Because I was deluded, I didn't want to actually be associated with him. Because I thought he didn't dress well. He was not what I... So that was my delusion. Now I look back, I can see my own delusion, how deluded I was. That people who had given birth to me, my parents have brought me to this world. I didn't have the kind of humility for my parents. Now I look back, yes, I can see my own deluded mind. The mind that is blind, that is, is cannot penetrate. Nothing can penetrate this mind. So even if you tell people, hey, Dhamma is good, you must come and learn, it benefit you. A lot of delusion. The fellow says, sorry, I think I want to see my TikTok first. Better I go and see my movie now. Now got what? Avatar. Avatar movie going on, right? How I know? Because my son keep inviting me. I said, no, I don't want to go. Because they always want to see midnight show. I said, midnight, I want to sleep already. So, these are the roots of our unwholesome, what do you call that? In terms of the root of unwholesome. But if it is wholesome, it's just the opposite. It's non-greed, non-aversion, and what is it? Non-delusion. Basically, we are not deluded. Like now, if I know I'm not deluded now because I know my parents. It's just like that. Their parents didn't have the opportunity. They didn't have opportunity to go to school, so there is no delusion in my mind now. I can see in terms of that what I did last time. Now I'm not deluded. I can know. Okay, so these are the roots. So let's look at what other factors on this right view that we are talking about. Not only about what is wholesome, unwholesome. What are the roots of this delusion that we are having, roots of this unwholesomeness, but also, Venerable Sariputta said, then the monks again asked, Venerable, can you please explain a little bit more? And then Venerable Sariputta said, yes. He said, the Four Noble Truths. That is, when we have, we know there is dukkha, the cause of dukkha, the cessation of dukkha, and the Noble Eightfold Path. Again, he explained about the Four Noble Truths. So if we do not understand or we do not practice the Four Noble Truths, there is dukkha in our life. Every day there is dukkha. This body, nowadays I wonder, I don't know whether I'll make it through the day or not. Because this body gives a lot of trouble. Then I see my mother-in-law, very healthy, at 90. Then suddenly now she is bedridden and then she has got so much of bodily pain. I see many people, like my sister has dementia now. So I wonder how I would die. When am I going to die? What is this? What is happening? So these Four Noble Truths, actually what the Buddha taught, gives us cause, to actually have samvega, this urgency. Because the next life you don't know where you're going to be born, what you're going to do, whether you can even hear the Dhamma. Even in this life, it took me 50 years before I can even be connected back to the Dhamma. 50 years, friends. Those of you young are very good. That means you have done good. Now I tell myself, because why 50 years only you hear Dhamma? Because you have been heedless. Not heedful. Never listen properly. Don't have humility. In the Mangala Sutta, the Buddha said, Garavacha nibatocha santutticha katanyuta kalena Dhamma savanang etang mangalamuttamang. When we are listening to the Dhamma, we have reverence for the Dhamma. We have humility, sitting down and listening very attentively. That is humility. And then we have what? We have contentment. We are very contented listening to the Dhamma. And because of that, we have a lot of gratitude. And this is why we are listening to the Dhamma. So there is a meaning to this. So the Sariputta also taught the Four Noble Truths. And then he also said the Noble Eightfold Path. Another one of right view is karma and rebirth. If we don't have humility, in this lifetime and in future lives, whatever comes to it is the fruit of what we have done. If we are not humble, if we don't practice humility, we will not ourselves receive any kind of humility from others. 3 weeks ago, I went to Asunta School for a program, and I was in the classroom, and the students were seated, and I was standing, talking to them. Then the headmistress walked into the classroom because she wanted to address the students before I started my program. Then she came in, and you know what the students did? A group of them, the one was at the back, they were chatting, they were chatting loud, I can hear them chattering, I don't know what they're talking. Then another group, never bother, and they just never face, their back is towards because the way it was placed, they could easily have turned and looked at her, but they didn't know, they just do what they were doing. And she started to say something, but nobody was paying attention to her, no? So after a while, she said something and then she just walked off. So from there, I could see that they were actually, these students were not at all respectful to their headmistress of their school, no? Asunta school, imagine. So after that, I did share with the students, actually, just now who came into the classroom? They say headmistress. I say, did you all know you were very disrespectful to her? That you did not actually pay attention to what... So you see, now, this is the result of the fruit. You understand what I mean? The fruit is you are disrespected. You get back what you actually didn't practice. So if we are humble, we practice humility, we have the right understanding, there is this thing called karma and fruit. In future, when we ourselves are in a position, when we are CEOs, when we are the manager, when we are the supervisor, when we are the boss, imagine your staff are very rude to you. They're not humble. They talk back to you. All these are the fruits of our previous actions coming back to us. So we have to understand karma and rebirth. In future, we are going to be born again and again and again. So if you are blessed, we have good children. You yourself become a child who is humble to your parents, who respect your parents, who give them a lot of happiness in their hearts. In future, you definitely will have children who are kind, who they themselves display the qualities that we ourselves have practiced. So you can see this very clearly. I myself have experienced it over and over and over again. So there is this mindfulness when we have learned this thing called right view. And of course, dependent origin. Everything is dependent upon something else. So if we practice humility, we will find things will happen to us. Correct? Do you agree? Yeah. So, if without this right view, if we are practicing humility without right view, we all practice humility before we learn Dhamma. We are all actually practicing humility. Not to say we all are very arrogant people. No, right? We all practice humility. But what happens is intellectually, as a knowledge, we can understand what is humility. But the mind has all these roots of the unwholesome roots are there. So you can be humble. Okay, I understand. Okay, I this one. But in the mind, what is going on? There's a lot of fire inside there, right? You say, okay, I understand. We respect our mother-in-law, but in the back there, I hope she doesn't come back here again. You know, many things like this happen to us. We are intellectually understand, but there is the burning within us because we don't have a right view. When we have right view, we will. Actually, what is going on here? Let me check whether there is this greed in me, whether there is aversion in me, whether I'm being a deluded person or not. Am I being deluded by behaving in this manner? Am I thinking rightly or not? Yeah, so there is a difference. Then there is a disconnect between what we perceive. We see certain thing, but the reality is a different thing. So if we don't have right view, we perceive, but the reality is actually a different thing altogether. And we can see that with right view, what do we see? We see anicca, we can see dukkha, and we see there is no self. Because when we are not humble, when we are the opposite of humility, what we have? Ego, right? It's basically our ego. You know who am I or not? You know, people got say or not? You know who's my father or not? Or not? People got come and tell you, you know who am I? I'm the CEO. You know, you talk to me like that. There is this arrogance. And anatta, there is no self. There's really no self because it is all progressing. And we are wrong and we clarify with right view. But if we don't have right view, basically it's an exercise in self-improvement. Correct or not? Okay, so when we go and do how to be humble, Google, Mr. Google, humble. He tell you what you do. Ask you to, what do you call? What are the things they will tell you? I also don't. Seek feedback. Some more? What they tell you? What they tell you? They tell you a lot of things. They say, what do you call, see your own wrongdoing, or seek the advice of others, or something. Accept criticism. Yes, we can understand all this. So it's an exercise in self-movement. We are trying to improve ourselves. But we really don't understand that behind this so-called humility is actually the three roots are very strong, growing stronger and stronger and stronger. But if we have right view, these three roots will become less and less and less. So this is the understanding. We have to have understanding of right view in order to know actually what is humility. Otherwise, we are just self-improvement exercise. If you don't understand, please go and Google afterwards. Got a lot of stories they will tell you how to do. Many they will tell. So actually, so what is humility then? Let's look at humility. So humility is not being conceited or proud. Proud of what we have, how my body look. When we are young, we are very conceited, right? Don't bluff me. You all look in the mirror many times, right? Men also got put hair. We are conceited with our body. We look how we look, how people look at us. These are all some of our, what do you call that? The things that we do to make ourselves look better. Then we do not feel superior to others. Last time I feel very superior because I go to school. I said, oh, my parents, they all buta huruf, one don't know one. So I always feel that I'm very much better than them. So we feel very superior to others. Yeah. When I was driving a new car, I feel very happy. Very like so proud. That I got a new car because I never owned a car before. So once I drive a new car, wow, the nose also go up already. Yeah. Then there is this. We are not. This is very important. Humility means that we are not intoxicated by our present condition, favorable conditions that we have. You know the earthquake that currently people in Turkey are facing? Do you know how many people were rich and own so many properties? Within a matter of seconds, they become poor already. You know? There was a meme going down. This man, apparently he got 3 properties. Now he hold 3 loaves of bread only because he have to stand in line to take food already. Got all collapsed and gone already. So in a matter of seconds, our circumstances can change. We can be very healthy. Next moment, doctor says, sorry, you got only 2 months to live. Yeah? This is how our life is. So we don't be intoxicated or whatever. I have my beauty, my position, my house, my wife, my husband. You know, people got trophy wife, trophy husband. They'll marry the most famous person. So they say, you see me? I can get this person because it's called a trophy wife. So this is the arrogance that we have. Then we are not boastful. We don't boast. Now, it is different from pride. We must differentiate. Pride is when we do something, we take pride in the work we do. Let's say we complete the task properly, according to what was said. We have pride in what we do. That is not boastful. We have pride in what we do. So, if we go to university and we have completed, parents are they have pride, right? The children have completed. That is not, we are not boastful. Unless you take a picture as big as the wall and then you put there, you see, everybody come see my children. All and they keep pointing out my children. That is boastful. But when the children have done well and we have pride, that is not being, being boastful. Yeah. Then we realize that false humility is actually a defilement. When we have false humility, we pretend that we are humble. Actually, there's a big defilement within us. There's a lot of greed and all the roots of unwholesomeness is deep within us. And so we will look, what is the opposite of conceit? What the opposite is? Conceit. It's called mana. The opposite of humility in the Buddhist is called mana, which is you have a lot of conceit. Now, we must not confuse this conceit with ourselves. I was saying it's not pride. Conceit is not pride. Pride is we see what we have done. We rejoice in what we have done. Something has done something good. Then that is not opposed of pride, conceit. Yeah. So what is the characteristics of conceit? I think we all are quite familiar with this, right? Correct. We have been conceited sometimes, right? God lah, shake head, God. Correct, God lah. Always. So the characteristic of conceit is what? Haughtiness or self-importance. Me. I feel so important. Why you all left me and went away? There is a conceit within ourselves that you say, why you do that to me? How come you can do that to me? You know, why you do this? So there is this conceit. So this is how it's characterized. Secondly, the basis of this kind of conceit is because there is an ego, the self. Outside we call it, in contemporary we call it the ego, but in Buddhism we call it the self, because we say there is a self existing. This self is hurt very badly because of this conceit. Yeah, and then how does it exhibit? This conceit and mana is actually a mental state. It is a mental state. But how is it exhibited? When there is excessive pride in one's own achievement. People, you know, when they achieve, they drive a very big car, then they go and park right in front one. Cannot park anywhere else, must be right in front. This is the, the pride in one's own achievement, abilities, and boastful. Quite easy to understand, right, this one? So I won't elaborate because we are quite good at it. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. We have been, probably. I will correct it. And the cause of this is because arises in us the roots of greed, mental states which is disassociated from view. When we don't have the right view, then it manifests and it will cause this kind of, motivated towards this kind of behavior that we have, mana. So we can reflect on it, that when we have the opposite of humility is actually conceit that we have in whatever our body. So there was this man, he was doing very well before the pandemic. Before the pandemic, I also repeated this story to some of the youths who were attending the camp. So this man had many property. My son came and told me, "Mommy, you know, I so admire this person. You know, he got 40 properties. You know, doing so well. You know, his house on top of the hill got swimming pool, and some more got 2 wives. One mistress, wife and one." Then I said, "Really?" Oh, he said, I admire this person. I said, "Yeah, why you admire?" He said, "Yeah, you see, he's so successful. He's so young, but he's very successful." Then I asked, "Are you sure he's successful?" He said, "Yeah, you see, because he see the outer, you know, then he drives a very big car. Everybody has a car in the house. Luckily, the children got no license. They also will have car. But he sees them as very successful." Then I told him, "Young man," I said, "he is not successful. In my books, I don't consider him very successful or very smart." He said, "Why you say like that, Mommy? I think you are jealous." I said, "Young man, please think." I said, "This man got 40 properties. You tell me how many properties is really fully paid up, you tell me. You understand? All the property is bank owned one, you know. Maybe a little bit. Maybe he got 70% loan on the property. How you know? Yeah. That means if anything happened, this is before COVID, no, I told my son, if anything happened, the market drop or there is going to be a downturn, this man is going to be badly affected. You better tell your friend to actually sell all the property now. Better sell and liquidate when the market is higher, at least he will get some money." They said, I told my son, no. And so happened, soon after that COVID came, and you all know what happened, right? He had so much of mental stress because tenants who, of course you cannot stay in 40 properties, right? Sure, all tenanted. So when the COVID came, nobody can pay rent. People cannot afford it. The people say, hey, please can give me rent free for 2 months. If your rental is 3,000, you chalat, no, you got to pay the bank, If you don't pay, the bank got moratorium, but the interest go up. So you are lost. So he was very, very stressed. He even to the point of thinking of committing suicide. And he became so bad, his stress level was so high. I also didn't know got this kind of sickness. He had this sickness called tinnitus. There is a constant ringing in the ear. The stress is so high that it's like, school bell? The school bell, it's continuously going on. So he cannot lie down, he cannot sit, he cannot walk. Every moment of his life, this thing keep ringing in his ear, and it's like it's so uncomfortable. So you can see when we have this type of conceit, I said, don't be conceited. This thing I think is very dangerous. I told myself, and did it have. Luckily, he didn't commit suicide. He's doing well now. It's okay. So this is one of the things that we can learn, that when we have a cause, we have a lot of greed, it leads us to having this manner or conceit. Now, what are the benefits of being humble? Of course, we are appreciative, respectful, and well-liked. Don't you think so? If you have humility, this is a very common thing. You're very well-liked. You develop a good mind to serve and live joyfully. Especially when we do service, when we don't have this humble quality, we'll all get into trouble. Don't you think, Shulun? Humility is very important, because people will tell, hey, why you say like this? I must say like that. Every day I will tell him, hey, brother Shulun, come, I give you some feedback. Then he will look, his eyes grow big already. Finished. So if he's not a humble, a learning kind of a person, then he will have that kind of anger. Oh, why sister every day must speak on me one? Last time I got one case like that. I did ask a person to do some chanting and all that, transference and marriage, and after we finish our program, the person come and had a dialogue with me. He said, why you pick on me every time? I said, pick on you? I said, it's something good, right? I give you opportunity to chant. The person took it as very like, you are picking on me. So when we do service, this humble mind of humility is super, super crucial for and even in anything we do. So we will be a good mind to do things joyfully. So when we wipe the floor, we are joyful. You are wiping, but the mind says, you see, I'm the only one doing, everybody else, you see lah. Got or not? Better check. Example. And I think Sister Ailey also once shared with us, she said, this thing happened to her when she was carrying the thing in Wisdom Park, very heavy thing. She had to go very far, carry some stone or rock or don't know what she had to carry. Then she walking up and down. This thought actually arose in her, and she shared with us how she could see this thought was actually like really like working on her, thinking, I see, I'm the only one carrying up and down, up and down, up and down. Then everybody else, nobody around me. So in that process, she realized how that mind was actually, it is not a humble mind. You're doing the work, doing the service, but on fire. Mind chauta already, very hot, overburn already. Luckily never explode. Got people explode and go already. And then you understand there is impermanence. When you have humility, you understand things will change overnight. Things can change at the blink of an eye, it can change. And we have the right attitude. Humility, having right humility, we learn and we grow. We humble ourselves to learn. And we become modest and we become contented. Why? Because we also have right view. So friends in the Dhamma, when a humble mind can readily recognize its own defilement. If the mind is not a really truly humble mind, you cannot see the defilements within you. You cannot see the anger, you cannot see the arrogance, you cannot see the hatred, the irritation, the animosity that's going on in the mind. You only see the outside that's going. So the mind that is full of humility is able to recognize its own defilements of craving, of greed, of aversion, and ignorance. Ignorance of not knowing the Four Noble Truths. And then what happens is embarking when we know, when we can see all these things, then we start our journey in humility. So from that moment onwards, we can actually really practice our joy of humility. And so, remember that when a mind is humble, because it is humble, that is a starting point for us to forgive. We can truly forgive. Sometimes you say, I forgive you, no, but I don't forget one. Remember, not humble. So we really accept and I really forgive. Whatever has happened in the past, no more memories. No more, I don't hold it anymore again. So there is this acceptance and we forgive. We are kind and grateful. We are truly grateful. And then you see all these other qualities will emerge because of this quality of humility that we possess within us. Even the Buddha, he was accused by a woman. She came in with a big stomach. She said, you see this man that you all call holy, so good, he made me pregnant. She accused the Buddha. And what did the Buddha do? The Buddha did not do anything. He just sat there. He was very serene. So when we chant the Jayamangala Gatha, we say, Santena Soma Vidina, Chittava Munindo. The Buddha was there very serene. He did not shout. He did not ask, hey, attendants, go and catch this fellow. No. He just sat there. And eventually when the people went to, to talk to her, then all her things, she just put her in a false. Now they call moon bum. Those days no moon bum. They have a, she put some cloth and she tied. She accused the Buddha. But the Buddha was very humble. So there is this quality of serenity within the Buddha. There was nothing, he knows. No way he would have done this. So there was a lot of this serenity. And there is respect and there is service. So these qualities will come. Even the Venerable Shariputra, one day he was, his robe, the inner robe, the sarong, was below, was the upper robe, outer robe was above. So even a Samanera pointed out to the Venerable, sir, your sarong can see one, no, because it has to be tied up. Then Venerable actually went and tied, and after that he went and said, thank you, teacher, to the young Samanera. So that was how he had a humble mind. And then we have a lot of faith grow in us in the Buddha Dhamma. So with that, I end today by recalling the Metta Sutta. The Buddha also said that one who is gentle and humble, one who wishes to attain that state of peace. That means if you want to have peace in your life, peace in your mind, and you want to say metta. When I first started learning the metta's meditation and all that, I think very powerful. Say metta to this fellow. I thought of metta very strong one. Then after that, then only I started realizing, actually it doesn't work. It doesn't work because, why? This person radiating the metta is full of nonsense here. You understand? So the Buddha said, one who wishes to attain that state of peace should be humble, should be loving, should have these qualities of, easy to advise, upright, perfect. You noted, do all this quality, you already become superwoman already, Cannot. So then I realized, So in this sutta, it's very wonderful, the Buddha said, one who wishes to attain that state of peace should have this humility, humble and gentle. So when you see humble people, they are very, very gentle. Very gentle. And again in the Mangala Sutta, again the Buddha said, one, Eta disani katwana sabbata maparajita. Sabbita suting, the Buddha said, Kachanti tang tesang mangala mutamangti. Those who practice these good qualities, the Buddha said, everywhere you will be invincible. You will be secure. Nobody can disturb you. Because you're so secure in what you do, you are invincible in what you do. Eta. So the Buddha said, these two qualities are these qualities of karavacha, nivato, humility. Quality that we practice will actually make us very secure. Because our mind has that state of non-greed, non-aversion, and it has no delusion. And we are therefore invincible because we are well liked. People do not do harm to others with this kind of quality. So with that, I wish all of you to continue to practice this characteristic and this virtue of humility towards a better person, ourselves, and also help all those around us, and especially when we all are doing service. Service, after learning humility in our service, always have this humble quality above us. Because in the beginning I said, Brahma Sahampati came and told the Buddha there are people with little dust in their eyes, and we are all here, people with little dust in us. In 1,000 years from now, people will be sitting here. We won't be sitting here in 1,000 years. Maybe we got recycle, come back, but we will be somebody else. And remember, it is us, because of our humble qualities, that we help others also to walk this path towards liberation ourselves. With that, I wish you good health, peace and happiness. May all beings be well and happy. Namo Buddhaya.